The Mixed Mornings and More podcast with Steph and Sean.
Now available daily.
Good morning, world. Hello, and welcome to a Friday. It is October 28th, just a couple days away from Halloween. And unfortunately, Sean is going to be isolating for them. Good thing he rents an apartment and nobody's going to be knocking on his door for Halloween candy anyway. All that to say, I am flying solo today. We wish him a speedy recovery. There's this club called the COVID Dodgers, and basically it's a shrinking and membership club, and it's people who have made it all the way through the pandemic and still have not contracted COVID, and they don't know why that they have managed to avoid it for so long. But unfortunately, it just lost another member because Sean is not with us today. But I'm crossing my fingers that I get to keep my membership through this. I've disinfected everything this morning. I'm like, keep your germs over there, and hopefully I'll stay healthy and continue to hang out with you in the mornings. Went out for dinner last night to Urban Kitchen Table, which is a wonderful little restaurant in Gregoire, and we have a favorite server there. She is always there, and she's so kind, and when we walked in, we were waiting to be seated, and she said, "Oh, where do you want to sit?" And we said, "Best table in the house, really doesn't matter to us." And so she was like, "Oh, I'll seat you here so you can watch the game." And we were like, "Okay, sure." So we sit down, and my husband doesn't at all face the TV. And she comes over about 2 minutes later, and she's like, "Oh, I promised to put the game on for you. Just 1 minute." And we were like, "Oh, it doesn't matter. We don't care." And she was like, "Okay." And she walked away. And then my husband said, "I wonder what game is on tonight." I just thought, boy, if Sean could hear us now, he would be dying. I started to look around at the other TVs in the place, and it seemed that ours was the only one with a football game on, and the Oilers were playing tonight. And I've since learned this morning that they won 6-5. So, Oilers! National Geographic is hoping to help you plan your travel for next year, and they've put out a list of places to visit in 2023. Now, Canada only made the list once, and I feel like we should be honored that actually Alberta, Canada is on the list. Just the entire province of Alberta. Now, they have different categories like adventure and places to go with your family and things like that. But I would have expected us to be, in beautiful Rocky Mountains, go visit Lake Louise category of adventure. But instead, they put us in the community category, which is a new one this year. It's replaced sustainability, and they say that the community category is about broadening the focus on people striving for sustainable destinations and the various ways that manifests, from making travel more accessible to supporting local businesses. So kind of cool that we made it in there. But then, even cooler, is the reason why Alberta, Canada made it in the list. And I will quote them. They said, "Alberta has been a leader in Indigenous tourism, basically getting travelers out there learning the stories and the ways of life of the First Nations here in North America and their vibrant contemporary cultures." Pretty cool. Pat yourself on the back, Alberta. Doing a great job making National Geographic's list. Only place in Canada to do it. Blair, both of your feet still on the ground. My goodness, was last night windy. I mean, the sound of it. I have patio lights that have just a little bit of a dip in them, and they were looking like skipping ropes last night. As well, my husband was at McDonald's, and there was actually a ladder just blowing across the parking lot. It had no owner. It had no one chasing after it. It was just out for an adventure by itself. Did you see anything blowing around last night? Apparently, the gusts got up to 60 kilometers an hour. I remember the last time we had this crazy wind, someone posted on Facebook that a deck had landed in their front yard, and they were like, "If you're missing your deck, it's over here." What'd you see blowing? 780-791-1037. We are talking about that wild wind that was blowing everything last night. I was walking into Mac Island and my hands were full, and it was as if I was walking in blind. My hair was completely blocking my eyes, and I had no way to move it out of my face. It was just so nuts. There was also a couple people said that they had a street light fall over on their street from the wind last night. Talk about something that needs a little bit more anchor. I hope it didn't hit anyone or anything on its way down. And Tracy said that she was trying to put some garbage into the bin at work, and the wind just picked it up, took it. She couldn't chase after it. It was just gone in pieces everywhere. Is there a worse seat on the plane than the middle one? I've sat in it a couple times and now know to set my alarm for 24 hours before my flight so I can check in as soon as possible to try and get my window seat without having to pay extra. Like, it's got to be the worst. You don't really get an armrest. You don't get any extra room of the aisle. You don't get the window to lean on. Why do we even make them? And if we must, why don't they come with a discount? Only 1% of passengers book the middle seat on purpose. And honestly, those people must be the talkers who are like, if I sit in the middle, I have 2 chances of conversation with a stranger. But that airline is also trying to make the middle seat more appealing, and they're offering prizes each week for every passenger that sits in one. They've got 6-day cruises up for grabs, tons of airline points, they have tickets to sports games. And I could be tempted because I am so bad at passing up the chance to win a prize, but a discount, that would really get my consideration. Flying's expensive. My dad has been a backing up prodigy my entire life. He's the guy that gets it the first try when he's backing a camper into a spot. He's the guy who can back up quickly through an underground parking garage as fast as he can drive forward through it. He is always backing trailers up into the driveway and getting it on the first try when he's like putting snowmobiles on and stuff like that. And our neighbors have stood outside and watched him at how good he is at backing up. He's basically an artist. Now, I want to say that I got his skills, but it is not true. I did get pretty good at backing up my car. I knew exactly how wide it was and how far back it went. But about a month ago, I got this giant red truck and I am just failing. And I've been trying to just back into my driveway. That's the thing I've been trying to perfect. So every time I get home, I'm trying to back in. And I think I've only done it perfectly 3 times. Every other time I've had to correct myself. And by correct, I mean I've had to instead pull into my neighbor's driveway across the street. And I'm doing that thing where it's like, oh, somebody's coming to visit us. Nope, it's just Steph again trying to back her freaking truck in. I'm sorry for all the hope that I have given you, and I promise I'm going to get better. Just might take a few more years.
Want more of today's show?
Download the Mixed Mornings and More podcast.
Now available every weekday.